Hello everyone, my name is Molly Weishar and I am the coordinator of the WeCM Women Engaging in Construction Mentoring Program. I'm also the CM Department Academic Success Coordinator, and an Academic Success Coordinator is a lot like an academic advisor in their role, just with an extra emphasis on retention initiatives, proactive outreach, and high impact practices. So my goal in the next 15 minutes is to share what I hope will be some helpful information about the WeCM program and mentoring relationships in general. So a little bit about why this program exists, what we're hoping to do with it, and the basic structure. I've been working in this program in the CM department for about 2 years now, and I really love it. I mean, our students are bright, they're passionate, they're driven, they're a blast to get to know and to work with. And our faculty and staff are really great to work with as well. But as a department and as a CM industry, we have a lot of growing to do. Our current student population does not represent the demographics of our state or our university, and there are a lot of voices not at the table when it comes to construction education and working the construction management industry. I'm talking women, I'm talking ethnic minorities, the LGBT community, and a number of other underrepresented populations. And as a department and as an industry, I think we have a lot of work to do still to really welcome, value, affirm, and retain a more diverse student body and a more diverse workforce. For example, as of fall 2018, only about 8% of students in the CM program at CSU identify as female. Our female students are also more likely to leave the CM major within the first 2 years than our male students. We've anecdotally heard from many female students that in their first year they have a hard time feeling connected with other women in the program, seeing examples of women role models in industry, and overall navigating the CM major. Once they get into their junior-senior year, if they make it in the major that long, they tend to be really confident and comfortable in the major and really proud of their identity as a woman in construction management. So I wanted to design an intervention that would help bridge that gap between that rocky first and second year and that more comfortable, confident, and enthusiastic third, fourth year and graduation. Hence, a mentoring program. Here's how our mentoring program is structured. Each semester we recruit 6 to 12-ish mentees. These mentees are new to our department. They're in their first, second, or maybe third semester with our department as a pre-CM student or recently admitted to our CM program. They get paired with a peer mentor who's a junior or senior woman in the construction management major that they meet with monthly. These peer mentors really work with their mentees on meeting their academic goals and helping them navigate the CM major socially. They're also paired with one of you all, an industry mentor. They meet with their industry mentors once a month as well, and you all provide a resource for career information, support, and a role model in the construction industry. In addition to that, our mentees have group events once a month for them all to get to know each other. So our group events change semester to semester based on the interests and availability of different options. But at minimum, we always have a kickoff meeting for everybody to get to know each other. We always do some sort of service learning or volunteer project in the construction industry, like Habitat for Humanity. We always do some sort of workshop related to CM applicable skills, whether that be interviewing skills or an equipment demo day. And we try to always do at least one site tour during the semester as well. So for you as an industry mentor, your responsibilities are to meet with your mentee at least once per month. You can certainly meet with them more than that if you would like to, and both of you are available, but the expectation is at least once a month. To attend our end of semester celebration, dates and details on that will be coming to you via email, and attend our beginning of the semester industry mentor meetup for you to meet the other industry mentors that semester, ask questions, and share knowledge. When you meet with your mentee, you can do just about anything. Many times, the first meeting is just a get-to-know-you meeting. Maybe that's over coffee, ice cream, a walk, lunch, etc. But oftentimes, mentees and mentors will take a site tour if they're able to of your job site or your office. Maybe you'll attend an event together. You can always, go for a hike, go to a game, volunteer, really any activities that the two of you are interested in doing together. If you need ideas on that, touch base with your other mentors this semester about what they plan to do with their mentees. Our goal for you all as mentors is to really empower these students to find and hone in their strengths. So we want them to learn more about industry and interact with CM professionals that share one or more of their identities. Anything that gets in the way of that goal is a problem. So probably all of these things can go unsaid, but for the sake of being on the same page, I'll just share and ask you to keep in mind the golden rule. So making sure you're treating your mentee with respect, not drinking or using any illicit substances during your times with your mentee. Even if your mentee is 21, it's not appropriate to drink together in this relationship. You can choose what your relationship looks like after this semester with your mentee, but during this formalized relationship, no alcohol, please. No romantic relationships, because that just makes things complicated with your mentee, and no overnight trips with your mentee. If you have questions or concerns about any of this, feel free to reach out. There are a ton of resources at CSU. Seriously, I joke if you take any 3 letters of the alphabet and put them together, that's probably an acronym for something at CSU. There are tons and tons of things to help support students and get them connected with one another. I'm not going to go over all of them today. In the email I've sent you, there'll be more information about some of the most important resources or most common resources that our students utilize, including the ones here on this screen. We do have a capped and a competitive major here in the construction management department, meaning that all students start out as pre-construction management, and then once they meet these criteria, they can apply to the full construction management major. I don't expect you to have these memorized or anything like that, but I do want to put it on your radar because that might be a primary goal for some of your mentees this semester, is to meet the criteria for admission. You all have gotten to the point in your careers because you have skills. Technical skills specific to your industry, but also interpersonal skills. Developing and maintaining relationships, I would argue, is a critically important component to success in the construction industry. So I'm not going to spend too much time here talking about how to connect with your mentee, because you already have all the strengths and career-specific knowledge you need to have that relationship. I will, however, briefly share a few reminders about how to quickly develop rapport with somebody new. Before I became an academic advisor, I was a therapist for a few years. And the number one thing you learn as a therapist is that relationships matter. And the more quickly your client can develop a sense of trust and feel cared for and respected by you, the sooner you can dive into the tough stuff. What people desire is to feel truly heard, deeply heard. They want somebody who really gets it. Sometimes that comes from shared experience. For example, maybe you as a mentor are a CSU CM alumni, and you can reminisce with your mentee about Guggenheim Hall. But shared experience is not necessary to get that depth of connection. If it was, therapists would have had to have one heck of a life in order to connect with all their different clients. What is more important is how you communicate to your mentee that despite your personal experiences, you're on their team and you're interested in getting to know them as a holistic human being. There we go. So, with that in mind, I present to you the basics of interpersonal effective communication, aka counseling micro skills. Dun dun dun. All right. So the first piece of that here is nonverbal skills. How you position your body, the amount of eye contact you make, and the sort of noises that we call minimal encouragers you make, all are indications to your mentee of if you want them to continue talking, if you want them to continue interacting with you. If you're not sure what minimal encouragers are, just think about the sounds you make when you have some good soup. Yep, you got me. Open-ended questions are a great way to get to know your mentee. Open-ended questions are things that cannot be answered with a yes-no response and require people to elaborate. An example might be, what has been challenging about coming to CSU? Rather than saying, has it been challenging coming to CSU? You can see how the first one requires more expansion. Probes. I love probes. If you never know what to say, just throw out a probe and really put it on them to share some information. Anything that starts with, tell me more about, is a great probe to use. Summarizing, paraphrasing, and reflecting. So often a student will share a somewhat lengthy story with me, and for me to help summarize that A, I'm listening, B, I get it, and C, sort of reflect back to them what they're sharing so that they can process it, I might really paraphrase it in a sentence or two. So if they say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got another C on one of my Khan 101 exams because I spent all this time studying. I used all these different types of ways of studying. I did flashcards, and I did a study group, and I also slept on my textbook because I thought maybe I would absorb that knowledge. And I practiced giving information to my mom about Khan 101 when I talked to her on the phone, and I still got a C. I'm so frustrated. I don't know what's going on. I might start by saying back to the student, wow, it sounds like you've tried multiple different approaches to studying. Or if I wanted to pick up on their emotional content, I might say something like, gosh, it sounds like this has been a really frustrating process for you. Challenges encourage your mentees to seek a different perspective or understand how their current way of thinking may not always be the full picture. So, for example, a challenge might be saying something like, on the one hand, I hear you saying that getting a 3.0 GPA is important to you. And at the same time, I hear you saying that you've skipped the last week of classes. Help me understand how those two things go together. Some examples of rapport building questions include things like, what should I know about you? What is important to you? How can I help you grow this semester? What would you like to know about me? What have you liked or disliked about previous mentors? And you'll notice, by the way, that all these questions start with what and how. You can certainly use why to start your questions, but they tend to put people on the defensive a little bit. So, for example, if you asked, what sort of music do you like, or what about that music is interesting to you, is a little less aggressive sounding than why do you like that music, right? Other ways to get connected with your mentee would be to make sure you're on the same page about things. So asking questions like, how do you prefer that we communicate? What situations or environments do you thrive in? What do you struggle with? What expectations do you have of me this semester? And what expectations should I have of you? These help really calibrate your relationship before it even begins. Ultimately, though, I don't want you to get too hung up on what words you use. Honestly, unless people frequently walk away from you in the middle of your conversations, you probably have all the interpersonal skills you need. And I think this quote really speaks to that. Couple additional tips here. Allow yourself to benefit from the strengths and knowledge of other mentors. You'll likely have other mentors this semester in the industry role that have done this before, so learn from them about what they found has worked with their students. Communicate your expectations to students. If you expect them to respond to a text message within 24 hours, you're going to have to say that. They don't always pick up on that stuff. Their social rules and responses and lack of professional experience means they need some guidance on that. Find a balance between what is sharing an appropriate amount of personal information versus an overshare. So keeping in mind that goal of empowering the student and it being about the student can help you with that. Also, be okay that you're not going to know everything and recognize that it's going to look different for everybody, both in terms of mentors and students. Overall, I think you have everything you need to be a successful mentor. It's just going to take a little time to figure out what that looks like for you. Check out the email I've sent you for more helpful resources, dates to know, and additional readings and suggestions. And thank you for your time.